Mark, I used to work in a bank, just like Christine does in today's movie. Like Christine, I also had an old lady ask me for help once. She came into the bank and asked if I'd check her balance, so I pushed her over.
Get a little bit of gasoline. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn. Let's go.
You are now listening to the You Run podcast, the only horror movie review podcast completely run and controlled, not by me and Mark, your hosts, but by you, our listeners.
Hey, Scoob, we're on the radio, bro. You want to die tonight? Zoinks!
You choose the movies. You score them. You review them. You do it all. Because after all, this is not our show. This is your show.
I'm your number one fan, Mr. Man.
It's not perfect. It has its problems.
The You Run podcast.
It was just weird. I don't know. I guess like a weird thought.
The You Run podcast.
Bitch, you better not forget about me. Don't you ever forget about me.
Hey, this is Naomi Grossman, best known as Pepper from American Horror Story.
Hi, it's Imitation Dave. Buddy, you son of a bitch.
Just make sure you fucking listen.
This was fucking incredible. He's the one you need to blame.
Get a little bit of gasoline. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn. Let's go. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn.
Hello, welcome to the You Run podcast. My name is Scott.
My name is Marc.
And each week we take you through the movies you have selected for review. This week we're diving deep into Sam Raimi's back catalogue of movies. In my opinion, one of his best movies. Don't worry though, you need to buckle in very, very tight. Last week I was struggling with the effects of COVID. I'm now fully fit and back to my normal annoying pain in the arse self. So hold on tight. Before we get into that, it's that time of the week. It's time for Mark to recommend an account.
This week's account is Casket in the Crypt. All one word, no undercases or anything like that. This is an account that specialises in unique and custom patches, pins, flags. You can find her account on Instagram. If you go on there, you'll find a link for her Etsy store where you can purchase any of the fantastic products she puts on display there. Obviously, as you can imagine, with this being a horror podcast, the majority of her products are horror related. The attention to detail that she has with her badges and pins and stuff is fantastic. So go check it out, pick some of the gear up, show some love.
Sounds like a plan to me. What was the account again?
It's Casket in the Crypt.
Casket in the Crypt. Right, okay. I will add that to my list of people to follow because I only follow who you tell me now.
Is how this works?
Yeah. I'm doing this now because I don't now need to troll and look for accounts to follow. You can do all the work for me and I just follow who you tell me. This week, as I said last week, we're joined by a guest. Our guest today is the former member of a thrash metal band, a former law clerk for New York County Defenders, and now a best-selling author of multiple books, including The Influencer and Black River Lantern. Welcome to the show, Mr. Alex Grass.
Thanks for having me, guys. Very happy to be here.
I'm thrilled you were on the show. We said before we started recording, I've been talking to, is it your agent, your publisher?
Goran's my PR guy.
Yeah.
He's the man. I always like, he ends up getting to know everybody before I do. And I was just like, I tell people afterwards, I asked you, I said, did you talk to him? He's very cool guy.
Yeah, really cool guy, really friendly, really helpful as well. And I've dealt with a lot of we'll call them like publicist type people. Out of all the ones I've dealt with, he is definitely one of the coolest. He's like really laid back. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. Nothing's a stress for him.
Yeah, he's super atypical for a PR guy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to start this with a question that I'm sure you're asked a lot. Thrash metal to law. How did that transition happen?
Wow, long winding road. So I guess, I was kind of a difficult kid for a long time, and I never quite got it together until later on. And so, when I was in, I guess like junior high, I discovered heavy metal, and it totally changed my life. You know, and I actually got on pretty well in school. I wasn't like an outsider or anything, but I had sort of like an oppositional view of I guess like regular school culture, my community's culture, and you know whatever the standard for American culture was at the time. I just like something told me to buck that, and I got older and I started getting in trouble. You know, like me and my other friend Justin, we got arrested. I was like 17, maybe even 18, um, because we stole a motorcycle out of the back of somebody's yard. There's sort of like a dirt alleyway that cuts between these, I guess you call them row homes in Tinicum County, like right outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had the bad fortune of choosing like I believe it was the former Tinicum County police chief's house to steal from. So yeah, so we got caught like in 7 fucking seconds, you know, and like we got pulled over in an Arby's, and we were not smart. I didn't even have a tarp. I was driving a pickup truck. It was a tiny pickup truck, Chevy S10, and like the handle was sticking basically because we had the bike propped down sideways on the bed because how else would you have it? But the handle was sticking basically up above the cab roof because the Chevy S10 is a very small truck. And like the second we got pulled over, I mean, they were pissed, man. You know, like they like cops do not cotton to you screwing with one of their own. I mean, we were young, but like they had fucking pistols drawn. You know?
Shit.
Yeah, they were real mad, you know. And like it was actually pretty scary because my friend Justin, they're like I was watching him, and Justin was not the type. He'd been arrested before. I've been arrested before, you know. But like neither one of us are the type to try and start something, do something, you know. And the cops like pointing his pistol at him and screaming like, "Don't move! Stop moving!" And Justin's like, "I swear to you, I'm not moving. If you move again, I will shoot." And I was just like, I also want to put in a word edgewise. I see that he's not moving. Just so you know. So that set off a whole sort of like, I don't know, tour around the world. My my mom was also in the Montgomery County District Attorney's Office at the time, so it was like an unholy fucking embarrassment to her when this stuff would happen, and it would happen not too infrequently either. And so she said, like, "What are you gonna do with your life?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know. I mean, I had family in Israel, so I'm like, I'll go to Israel. I went over there, and I played some music, but basically I just kind of like got hammered and literally whored around. Like it was, I don't know, like the golden age of prostitution in Tel Aviv, I guess. Like they used to have these pretty incredible places. I've sort of like mimicked this in the book. And it was just like kind of like a movie. Be sitting on like these big fucking red velour couches, and they had, like people serving drinks, and you would like pick I mean, it's pretty, it was dark, but it was also pretty cool. And most things that are very dark have an element of coolness to them, seediness. Like, I think these days that's one of the things that's like wrong with some of the fringe culture, like not just horror but comedy. It's like people have lost sight of like how the wrongness has a fundamental appeal. At like an elemental level, like the wrongness of horror was what pushed it forward. like the taboo and things like that. But I get, so like that couldn't last too long. That's the thing,
Yeah, that's a short-lived pursuit.
I think even at like 18, you understand that like going to whorehouses and drinking and drugging can't be a profession. There's no health insurance. Although, I guess like because there's there's a national health registry in Israel too, so you could argue that there is health insurance for whoremongers, but that's like semantics.
Yeah.
Are we weighing up the benefits here? Is this what we're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like I'm looking back. I'm like, you know what? I've never looked at this from like an economic standpoint. Yeah.
So, how did you take the leap from that into being a law clerk? How does that jump happen? That's a big leap. We're not talking of working like in a law office as an admin guy and then taking a jump to a law clerk. We're going from full on every law you could possibly break in to jumping into being a law clerk. That's a big step.
Well, I think it wasn't like I got home and I came back to America. I'm like, wow, I gotta put my shit in order. The life that I'm living is unacceptable. I will start studying for the LSAT and I will be a law clerk.
And then you abandoned all of that and you went to writing books, and very successfully writing books. And judging on what you've said, I'm guessing you draw a lot from your life experiences into your work.
My life experiences, my brother's life experiences. My brother right under me has a life that makes me look like a member of the Mormon Church. I mean,
I'd love to hear some of his stories. Fuck.
His stories are amazing. He was a collector for a bookie in Eastern Europe. He was in border patrol in the Gaza Strip, and like one time they had him dress up like a woman. That was pretty incredible to me. Short answer, yeah.
Yeah.
Short answer, yeah. I'm drawn to that shit.
What brought you to horror? What was it that made you go down that route? Because what have you written now? You've released 4 books or 5? 4.
4.
And you're about to release your 5th.
Pretty soon, we're working.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had almost no interest in horror until 4 years ago. I did when I was a kid. I look back on it. I definitely, I guess, had the fundamentals. I would definitely know who like Jason Voorhees was and Michael Myers, and like I guess there were pop culture touchstones that themselves enjoyed horror that I knew about as a kid, like Rob Zombie and like Quentin Tarantino. So like in a tertiary way, it would reach me. And my favorite movie, just like pure coincidence, I did not watch much horror, but my favorite movie has been for a long time The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing.
Great movie.
Yeah, I call it 12 Angry Men with aliens.
Yeah.
They should put that on the DVD box.
Yeah. I think it's like it's as close to a perfect movie as you get. But
yeah, but I'll agree with that. It's so well written, so well conceived that there's not very many horror movies that will keep you guessing all the way through, and even at the end keep you guessing whether they finished the thing off or not.
Right, and it's so rich. Like the characters are so rich. You understand immediately, like who the characters are. You understand exactly, and like the setting is so perfect. It's like, what is more horror than like the dawning winter in an Arctic setting? It's going to be dark and cold all the time. it's just angry drunk dudes stuck in the same place. So it's not like a recipe for, like they're not doing icebreakers and team building exercises.
No, they're definitely not.
and there wasn't exactly, like a sturdy HR department at the time, so
no. There's definitely no HR department in anything in the 80s at all. HR did not exist in the 80s.
Exactly. HR did not exist in the 80s, right? But what happened was 4 years ago, and I've talked about this a bunch. So on the off, I say this a lot. On the off chance that anyone is hearing me again, I apologize for running through it again. But 4 years ago, I quit drinking, and long and short of it is like I had a complete. I wouldn't even. It's not even reversal, but like just like a series of revolutions in my mind until I got to the point where I was thinking completely differently about everything, and I read Doctor Sleep, which has a recovery theme, because Daniel Torrance, Jack Torrance's kid is like a severe alcoholic, and part of that story is, like most people will probably be familiar from Mike Flanagan's Doctor Sleep. Flanagan is brilliant. I love everything.
Yeah.
But like that book, I don't know. It affected me in like a way I had not been affected by anything since I was, in the stage of life where you could still be thrown and warped by art, from 10 to 15 or something. And so it got me more interested in the genre, and obsessively so, But it wasn't just the books. It was just like I was carrying around a notebook with me, like a tiny little notebook, and just like I found myself thinking sort of like an immersive, darkly fantastical way, and just like everything seemed to have the potential. And then I was reading, or I listened to a lecture by Alan Moore, and I was reading some other stuff. It's just like basically the idea behind like rational and irrational, like phenomenon and noumenon, like what can be grasped, and the things that are like imminent with an eye that exist, but like you can't, that they're not tangible, that you can assess them in the way that like the modern rational material world assesses things. I became obsessed with those things. A lot of recovery is people figuring out what their higher power is, and so that was a big part.
Your books are available on
Amazon.
Yeah, and you've been high up in the charts as well. Was it? It was
top 100, I believe, on every one. And then like the highest I got into the 30s, I think, with A Boy's Hammer. Or maybe
which on Amazon is incredible, because when I looked earlier today, and I was looking yesterday, in the genre you're in, there's something like 37,000 books, and you're in the top 30 of that. It's just, that to me just blows my mind, but that's such an incredible achievement.
Yeah, I was pretty fucking happy about it.
I bet you were.
I was pretty happy, because let me tell you, the dread that you feel the first time you put out your first book, right? And you're just watching it live, and it's doing nothing. The things that you can start to think about yourself are pretty good, pretty amazing, and they're not nice.
Yeah, I get that feeling every single week when I put out an episode, and I sit there and go, "Where's my listeners? Where's the listeners?"
Yeah.
But it's brilliant, and it's. I love talking to people who are creative, but they're creative, and when they put something out, they genuinely care. Because there's a lot of creative people who don't care as much as I care about the show, and as much as you care about your books, and as much as Mark cares about his review page. There's a lot of content creators who just churn out content, and they don't care if it's good, bad, or indifferent, and they just keep churning it out. And you're not like that, which I think is great.
Yeah. Well, those people are either liars or psychopaths.
Yeah.
Like for real. Like if you're saying like I create art, the basis of art is human connection. You can say there's other stuff, but right, the basis of art is like a creator and interpreter. And you're saying that the interpreter is not necessary. You're basically saying either I have no concern for how other human beings feel, or I think that I'm God.
Please, God.
This is God.
Right, so this week we're looking at Drag Me to Hell. Drag Me to the Hell is the story of why you should treat the elderly well. Also highlights the dangers of playing with buttons. They're not only a choking hazard, they're also a curse concern. Sam Raimi and his brother Ivan wrote this together, and it goes full Evil Dead crazy from very, very early on. Strap in tight because we've got embalming fluid throwing, fly swallowing, ninja goat extravaganza to work our way through.
Mr. Jax, I was wondering if you'd made any decision regarding the assistant manager's position.
It's between Stu and yourself.
Stu Rubin, the new guy?
Stu's someone who's not afraid to make the tough decisions.
I'm perfectly capable of making the tough decisions.
I'll let you know as soon as I decide, okay?
Will you help me? Please.
Okay. We have an elderly woman asking for an extension on her mortgage payment. We would have to throw her out of her house.
We've already granted her 2 extensions. It's a tough decision. Your call.
Another extension is out of the question.
Where will I live?
I'm really sorry.
Never have I begged for anything, but now I humble myself
Mrs.
before
Ganesh,
you.
please.
I beg you.
Please let go. Please let go. Security!
You shame me. Soon it will be you who comes begging to me.
Someone has cursed you. He's the Lamia, the most feared of all demons. For the first 3 days, the spirit torments its victims. After that, it will come to take you.
Take me where?
To burn in hell for eternity.
It's coming for me.
Please listen to me. There's nothing coming for you.
How do I get rid of this?
I welcome you. You can give the curse away.
Right, so the movie starts in 1969 as we meet a young Mexican couple and their son rushing to the home of a spiritualist psychic medium, Sean. They explain to her that her son has stolen jewelry from the gypsies and is now being tormented by a malevolent spirit. She tries to assist the family by having a seance and a cleansing ritual. To say it's unsuccessful is an understatement. The boy is flung from a balcony and then dragged to hell by demonic hands. She then vows that she will meet this spirit again someday. If that was me and I got my ass kicked that badly by a demon, I would not be vowing to meet him again. I'd be vowing to avoid him forever.
That's balls, man. And it's like, you know.
Just that opening bit, I was like, really? Why? Why do you want to meet again?
Every square off between the supernatural and a regular person in a horror movie reminds me of, I used to have a Monty Python CD-ROM, and there was something on it where it was like, and now the world's heavyweight champion will box a 7-year-old girl.
That's pretty much spot on. We now skip 40 years later, where we meet Christine, a loan officer in a bank who's trying to get a promotion. Her boss, Mr. Jack, says that it's between her and the new guy, Stu, and she needs to demonstrate the ability to make tough decisions. She takes this knowledge and buggers off on her lunch break, where we meet her boyfriend, Clay, who we find out is very apparently madly in love with Christine, also collects coins because she gives him a coin in an envelope. His family thinks that he can do better, and Christine overhears a phone call with him and his mum, where his mum's trying to set him up with someone else while she's there. It's like, wow.
Yeah, they do a very good job of displaying pretty early on that she's been kicked to the curb by pretty much everybody. Her boss is a shithead to her. Her partner's parents don't think she's good enough, and everything around her sort of just seems like she's getting trodden on constantly.
Yeah, it definitely sets up a dynamic where like you want her to push back. You know, it's not like the typical, you know, like run, get out the room. It's much more like, nah, you got to start standing your ground, baby. Come on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I like that dynamic in this. The fact that you root for her, but you're rooting for her to not really do anything, just be a person and just dig her feet in and go, no, fuck you. No, be nice to me.
Yeah, exactly.
She goes back to work and she gets a chance to make one of these tough decisions as she meets Mrs. Ganoush, who's asking for an extension on her mortgage. Christine goes to ask her boss, who reiterates, it's a tough call. I'm going to let you make the decision. What a dick thing to do.
Yeah. He clearly doesn't have the personality to be able to deal with it himself. He's like, I'll just let you take care of this.
That sounds like a bank manager thing, because like everybody hates management, but also like everybody hates bankers. so like Ivan Raimi is probably like, let's double down on the dickery here.
Yeah. She makes the decision and she says no. Mrs. Ganoush asks very nicely again, please. It's kind of like, where am I going to live? What's going to happen? And Christine goes, well, you've got your daughter, you can go and live with her, or there's assisted living facilities. And this then pushes Mrs. Ganoush to throw herself on her knees in the most dramatic way. And I beg you, please, help me. She says no. She's trying to grab at Christine as Christine's walking away, and she falls flat on her face. And this is where the movie all of a sudden takes a very sharp turn. And she screams, you shame me.
Oh, man.
Security tried to remove her, and with that, she lunges at Christine and tries to attack her.
I didn't see this coming. I genuinely sort of like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It probably took me back when it happened.
And the actress who plays her is outstanding.
Yeah,
so good.
Her name is Lorna Raver, and I want to call her out by name because she was phenomenal in this.
Yeah, incredibly good. I've got to ask you both, would you have granted the extension if you were put in that position?
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, okay.
I have too much of a conscience to be able to turn an old lady out on the street. And if I was trying to do it for promotion purposes, I'd even offer her a bedroom at my house. I was like, look, I can't give you the promotion, but you can come and stay with me for a bit.
I would be like, yeah, I got a room too. And, I need some material for my new book. So, yeah, I could tell you got something going on. You know?
That has misery written all over it, by the way.
It definitely does.
Misery with the occult Romani twist. That'd be pretty heavy, man.
That would be an amazing book. That would be that you're getting. We're giving you ideas now. Have you got a notepad? Are you taking ideas down?
Well, I mean, we're recording, so I don't need to. I'm obviously going to go back and listen to this 10 times a day.
Her boss, being the dick he is, compliments her on how well she dealt with that, and adds that all she needs to do now is close a big outstanding loan, and the promotion is hers. Her boss is the biggest arsehole. They painted him so well as an arsehole. I hated him.
Yeah.
Instantly.
That's also worth mentioning. Like when an actor can make you hate them, that you forget you're watching an actor playing a character, that's not nothing.
No, it's definitely not. Christine is pleased with the fact that she's pleased that someone's praised her, which I kind of felt a little bit sorry for her. Right. And she grabs all the paperwork for the loan and kind of hurries out to the car park, quite happy with herself. She's like, I'm going to go and do this, and then I'm going to get my promotion. This scene is outstanding. So you get a real build of tension as she's going out, and you can see Mrs. Gadash's car is parked opposite, and then you get the scarf that kind of wisps across her windscreen and back again, and she's like, oh. And then all of a sudden, I didn't see this coming first time I watched it. Mrs. Ganache pops up in the back seat and tries to kill her.
Yeah. And this is relentless as well. This goes on for ages. I mean, this isn't a quick scene. This is very, very drawn out. On this, I just want to ask a quick question. The car that Mrs. Ganache is driving, that is Raimi's signature car that he puts in all his films, isn't it? It wasn't what I don't think that's one.
It's a Delta Oldsmobile 88. It's in all of Sam Raimi's movies, including the Spider-Man movies.
Yes.
I'm going to take a punt and say it will appear in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness as well.
If a bookie is taking bets, I would lump on all of my life savings on it that it will be in that film.
I would as well. This fight scene is brutal as well. So that where they're fighting, she starts the car and tries to drive away. They crash, and Mrs. Ganache hits her face on the windscreen. Her false teeth come out.
It's so good, and she's making the noises too, like it's like that's like Sam Raimi Evil Dead style. There's got to be like some weird kind of noise.
Yeah, and she starts licking and snogging her face. Oh, it was right, man. It really was off-putting.
Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah, we also, what else do we get? She attacks her with this. Christine attacks Mrs. Ganache with a stapler. As she staples her eyes shut.
And then stabs her in the mouth with a ruler.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is straight out of Evil Dead. This is Sam Raimi and his brother just having fun with what they think they can get away with.
Yeah, this is Evil Dead 2 all over.
Yeah. And it's so good. It ends with Mrs. Ganache dragging her out of the car after breaking the window with a breeze block. She drags her out of the car and snatches a button from her top, curses it, gives her the button back, and then kind of vanishes.
Before she leaves, she's like, "You will soon be begging me. The roles will reverse," kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know if everyone felt the same when they first watched this, but I remember that scene ended and me sitting there going, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah.
It just went crazy.
For sure. It was like, and also, it's one of those, like, it's such a great horror trope. It's like, such a strong, it's like one of the Stephen King tropes, like from Thinner, just like the gypsy's gonna fuck with the protagonist, but at the same time, it's just like, it turns out that the physical part was totally unnecessary. You know, it was just like Ganush was putting her on, just to make her uncomfortable before she finally cursed her.
Yeah, I think it's great. And what comes next is, so Christine leaves, they get interviewed by the police, and Clay, her boyfriend, takes her home. On the way home, she decides she wants to have her fortune read because she's had a bit of a rough day, and I'm guessing that she wants to get an insight as to whether she's going to be getting her promotion or whether Mrs. Ganache is dead or just some kind of, I think she just wants someone to tell her it's going to be okay.
Yeah, I love this scene because Justin Long in this is exactly how I would behave in this situation.
Do you know, I've actually got it in my notes that says Justin Long Clay responds to the psychic in the same way as Mark. Every time he says something, he responds in a sarcastic manner.
I just, as soon as he was doing it and the stuff he was saying, I was like, that's exactly what I would say. That is exactly what I would say.
But the crazy thing is, she went there for reassurance, and that's not what she got. She got round basically saying, "You've got a demon attached to you, and you need to get out. You need to leave." And from here, this is where the torment of Christine begins. This, for me, is one of the best representations of how I imagine a demonic attachment would work. So this demon first is heard, you can hear whispering, she's hearing noise, she's hearing voices. Then she's seeing shadows. Then it's infecting her dreams. Then she's hallucinating. And like the dream she has where the fly goes, does it go in her mouth or up her nose? I can't remember.
It goes up her nose and then out through the other nostril before she finally swallows it. And then it comes back around again later on. I mean, when it went up her nose, I was there and I was like rubbing my nose and itching. I was like, oh no, I feel it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that tickling sensation you get. I was like, this is awful.
Yeah, and what I really like about this is they don't hold up. So she's tormented for that entire first night, and she gets up and she kind of, you could see on her face when she's got to work, she's got that relief that it's daytime now. This shit doesn't happen in the day, where she gets the most incredible nosebleed at work and absolutely douses her boss in like Evil Dead levels of blood.
Yeah,
that gush from her nose. The blood was huge overkill, but I absolutely loved it.
I did as well. And when a boss was stood back afterwards, I was like, who the hell has been massacred in this room? Like, he's literally covered from head to toe. Like a scene from Carrie.
Yeah.
I love those scenes. I don't know what it is, but just like gratuitous blood. I was laughing so hard because like that's the beauty of the Raimi movies. You know, it's like you don't know if you're going to be horrified or if you're going to shit your pants laughing. It reminds me of like the scene in Team America where what's it like the main character is just like vomiting and vomiting and vomiting, and then like they pause and then the orchestra swells and he starts vomiting again.
I love that film. It's so funny.
Yeah,
I do, and I love the Raimis do this better than anyone. This kind of so close to the line of what you can accept as a viewer, and then they push it just that little bit further, and then the second they hit that bit too far, they dial it right back.
Right.
And you come back into the movies. They take it to the point where you're like, this is getting, it's over now. And they've got you back. And there's not many people who do that. But after her ridiculous nosebleed, Mrs. Ganesh was right. She goes to see her. So she gets the file and she sees that she gets her granddaughter's address. So she goes to her granddaughter's house because that's where she assumes she'll be staying after she's been thrown out of her own home. To say this doesn't go well, I think is an understatement. She gets there and Mrs. Ganesh is dead and they're in the middle of her wake.
Yeah. And she sort of stumbles in and falls over the corpse, to which she is fulfilled by vomit and snogging corpses and granny false teeth again. I mean, this is a reoccurring theme for this poor woman in this film.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I've never ever in a movie before seen a corpse effectively jump out of the casket and attack someone without actually coming back to life through any supernatural means. This was just, she stumbled and then with that, the corpse was out and on top of her, and you've got like, I don't know, embalming fluid coming out of her mouth all over it. It's going in her mouth and in her eyes. I was like, oh man, this is awful.
Yeah, it's very, very, it's rank, to be honest with you. That's the only way I can really describe it. Every scene that involves Mrs. Ganesh is rank.
Yeah,
it's not even nasty; it's nursty. You know.
Yeah. Christine freaks out, as I think I would, and as she leaves, Mrs. Ganesh's granddaughter goes, "You're going to get what you deserve. What's coming for you is what you deserve." Which again, Christine freaks, and she goes back to see Ram, she basically goes to him and explains what's happened. He then explains she's being haunted by a demon called the Lamia, and he suggests the best way to deal with this would be to sacrifice something, to make an offering. Christine basically says no.
I'm a vegetarian, she says.
Yeah, that's her reasoning. Yeah,
if you've got a demonic guy, Lamia thing coming after you, fuck that, man. You're killing anything to get away from that.
Also, it's like maybe you're can't be so principled about your scruples when you kick some old lady out of her house, but you're not willing to
kill a cat.
yeah, exactly.
Which we're getting to that now. So when she gets home, the Lamia attacks her and launches all around her room, all around her apartment. And this scene ends with her picking up a kitchen knife and calling her kitten.
I mean, I have a few conflicting opinions about that scene, because as the Lamia is coming through the house and stuff, and the pans and all the rest of it start shaking, the blinds start blowing, and you see the shadow creeping underneath the door, that looked absolutely phenomenal. But then you see this weird CGI thing break through the glass, and the CGI in this is a very mixed bag, is it not? Am I the only one who was a witness to this?
No, it is. It is.
But it's also like, I think that who knows what the call was on that. So this is where I have a hard time, because like a lot of the times, even though Raimi is, well revered, was even back then. Because I think he'd already done Spider-Man at that point, 2 of them, right?
Yeah, he had. Yeah.
Like a producer could come in and be like, "Oh, we got to get CGI," like the other thing is like maybe it's like cost cutting. I can't imagine how, but it was a little, yeah. It wasn't the best.
I mean, for me, it was very contrasting throughout the film. Like there is some great use of practical work and some average use of CGI work, but when the CGI is noticeable, it is very, very noticeable in this film for me.
Yeah. We get on to more of the CGI later because I've got some issues around the second seance.
Yeah, there's quite a bit in that. I mean, the napkin stuff early on already, which comes back around again. The napkin early doors at the fight scene in the parking lot. I know you touched on it earlier, but you didn't mention how bad it actually looks.
No, it does, but my thoughts on Raimi. Raimi gets a pass on a lot from me.
I was going to say, this is why I haven't drawn too much attention to it, but I feel like I need to bring it up. But I know your love for Raimi, and I know you're going to give him a free pass on anything in this film. But
I'll let you have the CGI. The CGI is not the best.
Yeah,
that's all you're getting. When Clay gets home, Christine is burying her kitten in the back garden because she's now killed the kitten. You don't see this on screen, so if you're concerned about seeing that, you don't. He's flustered. He's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And he's like, "You've got blood." She's like, "Yeah, no, I'm good." They go to dinner at her parents' house. This scene is uncomfortable to the level of like Meet the Parents or Meet the Fockers.
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
I was gonna say it's like as uncomfortable as Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Yeah,
Sidney Poitier. Like as uncomfortable as a 1960s interracial family dinner.
Very, very, very much so. And Clay's family are basically just, they're so disapproving. And she kind of, there's a point where she manages to fight all this off, and she's making herself seem quite good. She's being really open, and she's saying things that you wouldn't normally say at these dinners. And the mum's going, actually, she's got something about her. And this all falls apart when she spots an eyeball in the cake. Yeah. She jumps up and freaks out, and then the fly that went into her nose in her dream flies out of her mouth.
Yes.
Yeah. And they all think that the cake that she's brought to dinner is some sort of hick farmyard cake full of insects and bugs.
Yeah. And she leaves pretty quickly. Clay tries to go after her, and her mum's line is, "Leave her be. She's very ill." Christine rushes back to see Ram, the psychic, and he says he knows someone who'll remove the lamia for $10,000. I bet he does.
Yeah, I bet he does.
You see, this is where I started getting real confused because I was sort of lost at this moment, because I know she was like pawning all the stuff off, and then Clay came back and was like, "I've paid so and so and so and so," and I was just like, "Who is he paid? Why is she trying to sell her stuff?" I'm missing some plot points here.
Ram said he knew someone who could get rid of the lamia, but it cost $10,000. She pawns everything she's got and gets $3.5.
Right, okay. Now I'm following now.
She even goes to her boss and asks for an advance on her promotion.
Yes, because this is the part where we find out she lost a deal because of her dickhead competitor, and who, by the way, is a much more of a bigger asshole than her actual boss.
Right. Yeah, he is, because when she had her massive nosebleed, he stole the paperwork off of her desk and fed the information to a competitor, so she failed and lost the deal, and he then got her job.
Yes.
That's some real underhanded shit.
Yeah, he's a prick.
That's like what we would expect a banker to do. So
maybe he did deserve the job then.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of well suited to it. Let's be honest. More than she is. When
she realizes she can't get the money together, she goes home and decides to eat a massive tub of ice cream. And then Clay comes to the rescue and goes, "It's fine. I can see you're having a hard time. I've got the $10,000 for you."
Not for me. $10,000 is a lot of money, right? I am very skeptical about all this psychic shit. I would not be handing over 10 grand to anybody, regardless, because he hasn't seen anything at this point. He's just madly in love with this woman who's having some mental issues as far as everyone else is concerned. He is happily handing over $10,000 to something that he doesn't believe in. What would you guys do in this situation?
If I had spare income of $10,000 and it made my wife happy, I would probably part with it very skeptically and then would analyze what's being done with my $10,000.
You're already saying that because Lisa listens back to the show.
This is
what
true.
do you think?
I would, I like my instinct would probably be to do the same thing, because it's like it's really not about the money. It's about like, if you're in it for the long haul, and you know it already, like you're in it for the long haul with this woman. You want to do something that shows like, okay, like I might not be on board, but at its core, our relationship, there's like a strong tether of trust between us,
Think about what 10 grand could get you in Israel, though, Alex.
Oh my God! Are you sure? Like I went to visit my dad in Belarus, and the average income over there is $5,000 a year. So like, believe if I got 10 grand, I would do what my brother did: go over to Eastern Europe and see what kind of trouble that would get me into. It's like that movie Euro Trip. I don't know if you remember, like the guy, one of the American kids tips the hotelier with a quarter, and he smacks his boss and says, "I opened my own hotel now."
From here, we get probably the most bonkers Sam Raimi can get in the next couple of scenes. And come this point in the movie, I am fully on board for Sam Raimi just to completely let loose. So Clay takes Christine to the person who can remove the Lamia. And it's Sean from the beginning, the lady who vowed she would meet the Lamia again.
That's what I was going to ask. Is that the same person?
It is. And she was so excited to meet the Lamia again that she charged $10,000 for the privilege.
I was going to say, so this is a woman who has been waiting the majority of her adult life for vengeance, but she's charging for it now.
Yeah.
But just because she's been angling for vengeance her whole life, that doesn't mean she's not a capitalist all of a sudden. I mean,
I've seen her how. She does not need 10 grand.
Yeah. Well, listen, the other supernatural thing that we're not talking about here is the invisible hand. Economics. That's my dad joke. That was some pretty weak sauce right there.
It's all right. We can put the tumbleweed back in here as well. Don't worry.
No,
I like crickets. I like crickets.
I might move that to the beginning of the show and replace mine with that.
I feel honored by the weakness of my joke and your acceptance of it.
Now, a lot happens in a short space of time here. So this is the plan. So Sean is going to get the Lamia to possess her. Christine then has to get her to touch the goat that they have prepared earlier to move the Lamia from her into the goat. Sean's assistant is then going to decapitate the goat, killing the Lamia in the real world. This is all going pretty much to plan until the fact they forgot to take into account that the goat is a ninja and dodged the blade coming in. And it's like a proper, it's not like the goat jumped back. This is like a proper duck and dive and then spun its head around and bit the assistant's hand. I was like, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most Evil Dead 2 scene in the entire film. I mean, it's just balls to the wall, silly and absurd, and practically it looks fantastic, and the humor is a perfect balance. I mean, this is a shining moment of the entire film for me.
Yeah, the Lamia bites the assistant. The assistant then becomes possessed. He then summons demon flames onto the table and begins to dance on the table. He then jumps off the table and gives Christine back her cat that she sacrificed by vomiting it up and throwing it down.
Yeah, she gets vomited on again.
Yeah, and he says that I don't want your cat, I want your porker soul instead.
He's persistent, I'll give him that.
He is. Sean snaps out of the trance. She casts a powerful spell which banishes the Lamia back to where it came from. She immediately dies, literally seconds after doing this. She is dead. I'm going to point out now, she's really shit at her job.
Yeah, she should not be charging that level of money what she does to herself.
No, she's fought the Lamia twice. The first time a boy got dragged to hell. The second time she died. She needs to find a new profession.
She is not practicing in the off season, clearly.
She's definitely not. Christine believes now that it's all over, and she's quite excited. Oh, it's finished. She's not bothered that Sean's died. She's like, oh, great, it's done. I'm okay. And Ram points out that it's not done. She's banished the Lamia away, but the Lamia is still going to come to get you. I didn't tell you this before, but there is a way you can end this curse. The button that is cursed that you have that you can't get rid of, you can by gifting it to someone else. If you give that to someone else, you give the curse away.
I love this.
Brilliant idea. I've got to ask you, if that was you, would you give it away?
Yeah, I could give you a list of at least 10 people now that I would happily hand that over to.
I got it, dude.
Yeah,
I got it, dude. I got a couple people. You know,
that wouldn't be in my possession for any longer than 30 minutes.
Yeah. I definitely have a person in mind, and it's not one of my brother's wives.
Let's hope she doesn't listen to this show.
Oh no, she wouldn't listen to anything that doesn't have to do with Real Housewives. So we're
well, in that case, she deserves it.
Yeah, and I would give it away as well in a heartbeat. Even if I wasn't that hating of the person, if it just got rid of it, I would give it away. And I know that sounds horrible, but tough shit. It's a rough world. That's how it would go down.
The scene that follows from this is really cool though, because you go on to the diner from this point on, and she's sat there, and you can see the way she's scoping out the room, and she's looking around everybody, and she's sort of checking out who they are, what they're about, and whether they're deserving or undeserving, should I say, of taking it. And there's a scene in particular where she looks over at the old man who's clearly unwell, and she's building up the courage to go and give him the button, and then she realizes as his elderly wife comes over, and you're like, oh no, you can't do that. So she has a change of heart, and this is when she calls back ultimate knobhead from the beginning, the guy who took her job, and this is really cool.
But she doesn't give it to him. She bottles it.
Yeah, because he has a meltdown, and you can see that he's just an absolute weasel.
Yeah, he is, and she's speaking to Ram again about what she can do, and she asks if she can give this to a dead person. And Ram kind of confusedly answers, well, you can if you can gift it to someone within the Jewish community, because that is something that gifts are given to the dead. And Christy then goes, oh, great. So she goes and digs up Mrs. Ganache. And this scene, I think, looks fantastic, where she's dug the grave and they're shooting from the coffin's perspective up, and the rain's falling behind her and the blue light. This looks stunning.
It's phenomenal use of cinematography.
Really, really good. This scene's brilliant. Yet again, she gets attacked by the corpse. She reaches down and shoves it in her mouth, and Mrs. Ganache manages to get latched onto her and pulls out a chunk of her hair, and the grave is filling with water. It's brilliant.
Why does she always, every interaction she has with Miss Ganache, she always takes a chunk of her hair, whether she's dead, alive, or not? I'm like, this woman must be bald by the end of this film. Like, I thought this was going to come around full circle, but it never has any.
Wear a hairnet, tie your hair. It's just like nobody's learning from experience.
But she manages to get the button in the envelope shoved in her mouth, and she escapes the grave before it floods. The following day, she's at the train station with Clay. She's got a new jacket on, and Clay's like, why have you got a new jacket? And she goes, the other one, and makes some kind of excuse. So, it's a shame because I found your button.
Whoa! No, but that's the reaction we should have all had. But for me, as a movie watcher, they just spent too much time focusing on the way that he put the coin in the envelope at the beginning, and the focus on the mix-up that happened in the car when she dropped the envelope. I was like, I know exactly how this is going to pan out now before it's even got to that scene, and I was disappointed. I feel like they should have just made such a casual scene of it early on, not even really focused on it the way they did, and then maybe even done like a little flashback kind of thing, the way films do in that sense.
Yeah,
and it would have been much more impactful at the end.
Yeah, I think the problem is, I think with movies like this, especially horror, the vast majority of directors and producers go with the assumption that the audience is stupid, and there's this horrible habit of spelling things out.
This is just too much for me.
It is too much, but what comes next, I guarantee you didn't see coming.
No, I actually didn't. I knew how it was going to happen. I just didn't know how it was going to end.
So she freaks out and stumbles backwards, taking the button. She falls onto the train tracks as the train's about to run over. I was like, oh, we're going to get a squished by a train. But she doesn't. As you're looking down underneath the train, you see hell open up and demonic hands drag her to hell. And that is the end of the movie. And the whole reason they called it Drag Me to Hell. They saved it right to the end to hit you with it.
Yeah, I like that. It was a cool touch. I mean, I like the way also that it kind of made it look like she had committed suicide, but Claire was the only one who actually witnessed what happened. So he's going to now have to live with the burden of knowing. And even if he tries to explain it to anybody, they're just going to assume he's mental.
Yeah. It's tied up very neatly. I would like to see another one of these.
That would be pretty cool.
I'd like to see a sequel. I don't know how they'd make that happen, but I'd like to see that. Let's find out what you all thought of this. We wanted them. You delivered them. It's this week's 3-Word Reviews from the listeners. So 3-word reviews this week. We've got Pennywise We All Float, a brilliant movie. Michael Audrey Myers 18, That Damn Button. One Sunny Day Media, not that fun. Scream Time 1996, under fucking rated. Queen Ghoul 13, complete utter shite. And finally, Cannibal Christo, You Shamed Me. A little bit about our 3-word reviewers. So we've got Pennywise We All Float, who's a horror account. We've got Michael Audrey Myers 18, who, funnily enough, is a Michael Myers fan account. One Sunny Day Media is a movie reviewer. We've got Scream Time 1996, who's a horror blogger, who also interviewed me a little while back. So if you go to their page, you'll be able to see the interview that I'd done with them. Queen Ghoul 13 is a horror account. And finally, Cannibal Christo is a horror account and movie reviewer. Now we've done that, I think it's time we play a little game. So we're going to play a new game called Book or No, which, funnily enough, is purpose for this episode as we have an author on the show. So this game is, I went and scoured the web for some obscure book titles. And I'm going to give you the book title, and all you need to do is tell me if it's actually a book or if I've completely made it up. So you both game for this?
Yeah, right, I've got this.
Let's play a new game. Let's play Book or No. Okay, so the first one is All My Friends Are Dead.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's a book.
That is a book. It's a dark comedy by Avery Monson. How to Raise a Jewish Dog.
Yes, I have that book.
Do you really?
Fuck off! No way.
I swear to you, there's a picture of English Pit Bull Terrier on the front. I gave it to my mom for her birthday.
There is.
That is brilliant.
What's the chance of that? So that is, this is a book that has make-believe rules on how to raise a Jewish dog by Barbara Davilman. We've got, the next one is The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat.
Yes.
No. How do you mistake your wife for a hat?
I think it's about mental disorders.
It is. It's a factual book about neurological cases by Oliver Sacks.
All right, you're going to nail this. I'm just going to say whatever Alex said.
Question number 4. Number 4, Go the Fuck to Sleep.
Yes. The audiobook narrated by Sam Jackson.
It's actually narrated by Sam Jackson.
It's a bedtime book for parents who live in the real world by Adam Mansack. Can be found narrated by Samuel L. Jackson on YouTube and various other. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
It's really amazing. I think I may have actually played it for one of my children once.
Yeah, I was just about to say you can play it for your children, but please bear in mind every sentence ends with That's great. I
No.
think it's wonderful what you're doing, kids. Now go the fuck
to sleep.
to sleep. And with Samuel L. Jackson narrating that, it's amazing. Next one is how to teach quantum physics to your dog.
Yes.
No.
That is also a book. It's a fictional tale by Chad Orzel. Right, next one. I've got two more. So this one is Cat Flexing, a cat lover's guide to weight training, aerobics, and stretching.
Yes. I have seen some pretty hench cats on the internet.
Yes.
You go with yes. Okay, that is also a book. So this is a book which has joint exercise regimens for you and your cat to do together.
Wow.
And it's by Stephanie Jackson. The final one is, if the devil made you do it, you blew it. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have to happen again.
I'm going to say no, just for the heck of it. Actually, I really believe it's not. I'm going to get back.
I'm going to say yes, because I feel like every single one of them has actually been a book. So I feel like this is a book. Purely just based on repetition.
This is also a book. So this is a teenager's advice book from 1989, helping them overcome temptation. For example, overeating cookies, cheating on a test, or killing a policeman, all covered in this book by Lorraine Peterson.
Yeah, because they're all within the same category of level.
I just want to point out, we started this podcast asking how I could go from a heavy metal band to being a law clerk, okay?
Yeah.
If you can go from eating cookies to killing a police officer, obviously anyone, anywhere can jump from anything to anything else.
The reason they were all books is I made up 4 or 5 and then Googled them to check they weren't books. And all of them were books or near as damn it a book. So I gave up.
Oh my God.
Some of the stuff I come up with was like just random shit out of my brain. And then I would have looked at it. Someone's written a book on that. So that's book or no, which turns out they were all books. Into facts this week. It's time to find out what you know about this movie and what we know. It's facts. So as we mentioned earlier, this is another movie that features the yellow Delta 88 from The Evil Dead, Spider-Man 1, 2, and every other movie. It's the most used cast member by Sam Raimi next to one other person, which is Bruce Campbell. The car has more appearances than Bruce Campbell, but only just.
So has that been in every single film that he has ever put to screen?
Yes.
Did he do Spider-Man 3?
Yes.
And it's in that as well, yeah?
Yes.
So, yeah, no bookie's taking my bet on where he's in Doctor Strange, are they?
No, it's in every movie he's done in one way or the other. So there's a couple of movies where the entire car isn't there, but like the front fender is there, or the front end of the car has been damaged and it's sat on the side of the road, but it's everywhere. Yeah. The license plate of Mrs. Ganash's car is 99951, where if you turn it upside down, reads is 666.
Oh, that's cool.
On the way to the cemetery, Christine says, I'm going to I can't even speak. I'm going to get some, which is reference to Ash's line, come get some, in The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Before deciding to direct this himself, Sam Raimi approached Edgar Wright to direct this movie. He pushed really hard as well. Edgar Wright said he couldn't do it because he was filming Hot Fuzz, and also threw in that he didn't think he was the right director for this movie.
Oh, I disagree. I thought he would be phenomenal with this script.
Yeah, I don't understand it because it's like, it seems like horror comedy and like the sensibility and, like to be able to, if anyone's able to honor Sam Raimi, you'd think it'd be Edgar Wright,
This is so catered to Raimi's sort of style of filmmaking that I think anybody else who would come in to try and mimic that would then be compared. So if Edgar Wright had directed this note for note as the script is currently, everyone would just be like saying, oh, you're just trying to rip off Raimi. So I feel like I can understand why he would have taken a step back from this unless he was given creative control to do his own thing with what he felt needed changing throughout.
Right. Although
Yeah.
you can do Raimi without just directly aping Raimi. I mean, like Slither, I think it's directed. Wasn't that Sean Gunn?
Is it Sean Gunn? Is it Sean Gunn? No, Sean Gunn's his brother, isn't it? Or am I losing my mind?
No. Oh, yeah. You're right. James Gunn.
James Gunn, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
His brother
James
Sean
Gunn,
was in all the Guardian Galaxy films. Yeah.
Yeah. Sean Gunn's his motion capture go-to.
This is the only PG-13 rated horror directed by Sam Raimi. I don't know how this got a PG-13 rating.
This is only PG-13, no way.
It is only PG-13.
Because you guys don't get it. It's the dictum. It's the South Park movie dictum. This is how ratings work in America, right? Just remember, horrible, deplorable violence is okay, as long as nobody says any naughty words.
I can't imagine this was only what's our equivalent of PG-13? It's a 12A, isn't it? There's no way this is 12A in the UK. This has got to be 15.
No, 12A.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They dialed back the issue that they had when they first put the first cut in. There was lots more blood in it, so Raimi dialed back all the blood and submitted it. He basically done exactly what they told him and submitted it again. And because they were so focused on the blood, lots of the other things they weren't as focused on that they might have picked up on. And then when he resubmitted it, they had nowhere to go. They couldn't go, oh, actually, no, this. Because he said, well, no, you gave me the list. I removed it. That is now PG-13. So it was kind of a bit of a technicality. This film is Justin Long's second horror film. Long's first horror film was Jeepers Creepers, and he's done 2 horror films that followed this. So he'd done Afterlife and Tusk, both. In fact, I like all of those movies. Christine and the boy at the beginning of the film both scream, "Help me," as they are dragged to hell. Christine screams it in English, while the boy screams it in Spanish. But there'll be no screaming for help. No screaming for help will help you at all with what's about to come next, because it's time to play Broken Spirit.
I told you, I want to play a game.
They will say that I have shed innocent blood.
The power of Christ compels you!
What have you done to its eyes?
Well, it's elevated horror.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare.
You're going to like it.
I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end.
How was that the slaughterhouse?
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Oh, I know this one, you fuck.
Right, so time for Broken Spirit to potentially take another victim. The rules are simple. It's 15 questions. There's no assistance. 10 points per question. You can walk away with your points at any time. If you get a question wrong, the game stops. You lose all your points and you walk away with 0. Currently at the top of our leaderboard is Robbie Horror, who got 2 correct answers, so you're on a total of 20 points. So, Alex, are you ready? In fact, before we do Are You Ready, you can make a choice. Would you like me to quiz you, or would you like Mark to quiz you, or would you like us to take turns?
You know, I take turns. Let's do a round table thing.
Yeah, okay. Well, Mark, I'm going to let you kick it off this week.
Yep, no problem at all. Right, so starting with question number 1. What was the cursed item in Drag Me to Hell?
But
that is correct. 10 points.
Okay, so question number 2. Who wrote the 1981 movie An American Werewolf in London?
John Landis?
That's correct. Another 10 points. You're on 20 points. So you're currently tied with our leader, Robbie Horror.
Yeah, so no pressure with this next question, and feel free to walk away at any point. Question number 3. The Hollywood remake of The Ring was released in 2002. When did the Japanese original titled Ring come out?
This would be pure guesswork. 1997?
Shamed me. Dissimulate.
Game over, unfortunately. It was 1998.
Wow.
Phenomenal display, though. Well done for the guess.
I can't believe how close you were. So that's Broken Spirit taking another victim. Alex, you scored 0. Don't worry, you're in good company. You're in company with Mark and Horror Review Girl and Lady Crisis, who've all been on the show and all scored an equal 0.
I feel honored to be amongst such an illustrious group of losers.
Yes, this is it. We're starting our own cult.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the No Homers Club, but it's the No Robbies Club because he's got points. Alex Grass, 0 points. The question is, will anyone stop Broken Spirit? Or can anyone even get past 5 questions? So moving forward, we've got quite a few episodes where we haven't got guests on it, as you know from the show. It's episodes where it's just me and Mark. So I'm going to throw something out there now. If you are listening now and you think you can take on Broken Spirit, go to our website, yourunpodcast.com, click on the button where it says record us a voicemail. Record me a voicemail saying you want to come on and you want to just take on Broken Spirit. So not come on as a guest and do a whole episode, just do the quiz. And if you want to do that, I'll take you up on it. I'll bring you on the show and we'll see if you can do it. So if you're a horror fan who's listening going, I've got all of these right, it's easy. Call into the show, put your money where your mouth is, and I'll let you have a go at it.
Open challenge.
Definitely open challenge.
Come get some.
Yeah.
Come get some. Love it.
As always, you score the movies. The listeners score the movies. You've scored Drag Me to Hell 7 out of 10. Which is a pretty good score for this movie. I love this movie. As I said earlier, I make no attempt to hide I love the wackiness, the goofiness. I love the fact that Raimi doesn't hold anything back. He doesn't give a toss what people like or not. He genuinely doesn't, because no one likes the scenes where Mrs. Ganesh is drooling in the girl's mouth. No one likes that, and he knows that, and that's what makes him so good. I prefer this to the vast majority of his other movies. And at the risk of getting some backlash, I prefer this to the original Evil Dead. It's not as good as Evil Dead 2, but I prefer this to the original. It's also Lisa's favourite horror movie. So this is a regular watch for us. It's the one that we go to and watch as a couple if we want to watch a horror movie. This is a solid 7 out of 10 for me. I really like this film.
See, I came here fully prepared to sort of rip this apart. But for one reason or another, since I found out that this is only a PG-13, I don't know, I seem to have a new light and perspective on the film. I feel like given that this was an 18 or a hard R, this could have been a much darker and more impressive take on the story. Because the story itself for me was pretty incredible. I was engaged, I was fully on board in it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had major issues with the CGI throughout. But knowing that it was constrained, if that's the right word, or held back in terms of the brutality and the gore and the violence and the language, not that I need foul language to make a film, but knowing that it felt very reserved in that sense, kind of made me have a little bit of a different opinion on it. It's not going to affect my score. This is still a 3 out of 5 for me. I had a good time with it and I enjoyed it. Is it going to be a regular watch for me? I very much doubt it. But the Raimi aspects were there. I just don't feel like they were fully fulfilled where they could have been. So maybe if this had been given an 18 rating, it would have been a much better film.
You know, I've watched this a couple of times, and it's a fun movie. And I think it's like the kind of movie you can sit around with a buddy and like really have a great time. You know, like if you were going to introduce somebody to horror, this would be a good movie to do it. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say 4 out of 5, honestly, because I think like if someone came out with this movie and like Sam Raimi didn't exist and you didn't know about Sam Raimi's work, people would be like, wow, this is real cool. I think if you got like a fresh impression, just saw a movie created like this, like people take for granted the capability of, you know, like the more expert horror directors, you know?
See, I can kind of counteract that a little bit and explain to you that I had seen this before I knew Raimi's back catalogue of work. And I thought it was just fucking weird. I didn't get it. I didn't get the humor. I didn't get the sense of direction that it was going in. And I genuinely wasn't looking forward to reviewing this again for the show and stuff. But since watching throughout the whole Evil Dead back catalogue and whatever else Raimi has done within the genre, I can appreciate it a lot more, and my score has massively increased based on my knowledge of him as a director and the films that he's produced. So I don't know.
Well, then I'm going to be as persuadable as an underling at a bank, desperate to claw her way up the ladder and change my answer to 1 out of 5.
So those are the scores this week. Next week, we are off to Woodsboro for one of the only remaining Scream movies not covered by the show, Scream 4. We're going to be joined by Angel from Voices of the Mausoleum. She's got some very interesting horror takes. Me and Angel agree on about 5 movies total. Across every movie we've discussed, there's about 5 we agree on. Marc and Angel are going to agree on probably a 10th of that, if we're lucky.
If she's a Rob Zombie fan, she might make it to the end of the episode.
It's going to be a really good episode. She's got lots she's going to bring to the table. Her horror knowledge is wide as well. So I'm going to predict a attempt for the top spot in Broken Spirit. I reckon she's going to try and take Robbie.
Nice.
So
we need some heavy hitters coming on. So
yeah, her horror knowledge is broad and delves into lots of things that I've had conversations with her where we're talking about stuff from the 1930s, and she'll hit me with a fact. I'm like, shit, I didn't know that. So I think she's got a good shout. And we're doing Scream 4, so next week is a very, very good week. Alex, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and spend with us and talk shit about horror and about your past and your books.
I'm happy to. I had a really great time, and as always, I want to apologize to my wife who's going to listen to this. Sorry.
No, that's a good note to sound off on.
Yeah.
Go and buy Alex's book. Go to Amazon. Go and look at the synopsis of the books that he's written. But buy one. You don't need to buy a paper copy. We live in a paperless world. If you want to, download an ebook. But go and give Alex a read. I have downloaded a copy of the book today. It's The Lantern. What's the Lantern one called? I keep forgetting the...
Black River Lantern.
Black River Lantern. So I've downloaded a copy of that, which I will be reading. Because I read a lot, but I tend to... I think like most people who read a lot, I get stuck in a niche. So my niche tends to sit with Stephen King and Clive Barker.
Good fucking niche.
the thing is, though, if I get stuck for I want to read something, instead of picking up one of the new books that I've been bought for birthdays and Christmas, and I've got all of these books, instead of picking up one of those, I go, I'm going to read The Shining again. I'm going to read Doctor Sleep again. And it's just that I can't get out of that habit. So I've bought your book and I am going to read it because I do want to break that habit.
I don't know, man. That's to me, that's totally permissible. It's just I'm going to read The Shining again. And yeah, that sounds about right.
But no, seriously, go and buy one of Alex's books. Go and show him some love and support because he's come on the show and he's given us all a good time and some stories that I'm sure his wife's going to tell him off for later.
Sorry.
Thank you so much to everyone who listens. And if you're a new listener to the show, thank you for joining us. Don't forget you can help support the show by going, it's really simple. Go to Apple Podcasts or go to Spotify and just hit 5 stars. It's really that easy. You're listening to us on that app now. So open the app and where you've got the stars right underneath where you're listening to, just tap. It's really simple. And that bumps us up the charts and it allows more people to find us and lets us grow and lets us become a bigger, better podcast and bring you new content and more frequent content. And eventually maybe one day a Spotify deal where I get to do this full time. I don't have to go work for someone like that boss in the bank.
Yeah. unless Spotify comes to you after you're out there, it's listen, it's between you and another show, so we're gonna need you to, and then the next interviewee comes on, you're like, what's your background? I'm a Romanian.
Yeah, they will be getting a button in the post if that's the case.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you all next week.
Yeah, thanks everyone. See you next week.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You want to die tonight?
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the You Run podcast. Don't forget to get involved in the show. All you need to do is head to our website, yourunpodcast.com.
This is not our show. This is your show.